The Baltimore Ravens went into Week 3 with high hopes, but what happened on Monday night against the Detroit Lions was nothing short of a wake-up call. It was not one of those nights where you can say they beat themselves with penalties or turnovers. No, this was about being physically outmatched and bullied on both sides of the ball by a team that simply wanted it more. The Lions stormed into the game, imposed their will, and walked out with a 38-30 victory that left the Ravens questioning their very identity. The run defense, long considered one of the cornerstones of this franchise, completely collapsed. We are talking about a defense that last season never allowed more than 150 rushing yards in a single game, not even in the postseason. Yet here, in prime time, they were shredded for 225 rushing yards by a Detroit team that looked hungrier, tougher, and sharper. That is not just a bad night at the office. That is a red flag waving in front of the entire organization. David Montgomery, a back who has been consistent throughout his career but never really seen as dominant, exploded for a career-best 151 yards and punched in 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, his young and electric partner, added 67 yards and another pair of scores. The Lions did not just run the ball effectively, they made it look easy. Every carry felt like it was breaking the spirit of the Baltimore defense, and the Ravens had no answer. Head coach John Harbaugh was visibly frustrated after the game, and he did not sugarcoat the reality. He admitted that the biggest problem was not one player or one mistake, but the entire defense failing to show up against the run. He said bluntly that what they put on the field was unacceptable, that this is not who the Ravens are supposed to be, and that it cannot continue. When your head coach comes out that strong, it tells you just how shaken the locker room is after being embarrassed in such a fundamental area of the game. Star safety Kyle Hamilton also spoke with raw honesty. He explained how demoralizing it is for a defense when a team runs the ball straight at you and you cannot stop it. Passing yards can sting, but when a team is pounding the rock and moving the chains while wearing you down physically, it attacks your pride as a defender. Hamilton admitted there are no excuses, no quick fixes, and no shortcuts. The Ravens have to figure it out immediately, or the season could start spiraling. Now, yes, the Lions might have one of the best running back duos in football right now, but that does not excuse the lack of resistance Baltimore showed. Missed tackles piled up to the tune of 20, and Detroit even strung together touchdown drives of 96 and 98 yards. That is not just a breakdown. That is a defense completely unraveling. For a unit that has prided itself on being among the league's elite, this was a reality check of the harshest kind, and the timing could not be worse. Next up on the schedule, a trip to Arrowhead to face the Kansas City Chiefs. That alone is one of the most intimidating road challenges in football, but when you add in the Ravens' history there, it becomes an even heavier burden. Since the year 2008, the Ravens have given up an average of 29 points per game at Arrowhead. It is not just a tough environment. It has been a house of horrors for Baltimore. Digging deeper, the record gets uglier. The last time the Ravens beat the Chiefs in Kansas City was way back in 2012, and that was in a low-scoring 9-6 battle where neither Lamar Jackson nor Patrick Mahomes was even involved. Since Mahomes took over and Jackson became the face of the Ravens, Baltimore has not been able to solve the Kansas City puzzle. Lamar himself is 1-4 against Mahomes, and the franchise as a whole sits at 4-8 when facing the Chiefs. If you want to talk about daunting numbers, look at what Kansas City has done at home since 2021. They have gone 27-8 at Arrowhead, which translates to a 77% winning rate. That is the type of fortress environment Baltimore is walking into. And while the Chiefs may only be 1-2 right now, they are coming off a strong performance against the New York Giants and will be eager to ride that momentum. So here is Lamar Jackson's challenge. He is not just trying to win a football game. He is trying to flip the script of years of frustration, to rewrite the narrative that the Ravens crumble under the bright lights of Arrowhead. He knows the odds, he knows the record, and he knows the history. But what makes this moment even more pressing is that his own team is currently riddled with mistakes and defensive breakdowns that cannot be ignored. And speaking of mistakes, Derrick Henry has unfortunately become part of the storyline for all the wrong reasons. Henry, who was brought in to add power and reliability to the Ravens' backfield, has now fumbled 3 times in 3 games. Against the Lions, with the Ravens trailing by just 4 points in the fourth quarter and trying to mount a comeback, Henry lost the ball inside their own 16 after Aiden Hutchinson punched it free from behind. Detroit quickly turned that turnover into a field goal, extending their lead and burying Baltimore's hopes. To put Henry's struggles into perspective, across his first 9 seasons, he only lost 2 fourth-quarter fumbles in 136 games. Now he has coughed it up twice in the fourth quarter in just the opening stretch of this season. After the game, Henry was seen visibly upset, slamming his helmet in frustration. He later admitted that he is his own worst critic and that this streak of mistakes is eating at him. But apologies do not change outcomes. The Ravens need Henry to fix this problem immediately if they are going to survive the gauntlet ahead. For Jackson, the mission is clear. If he wants to lead the Ravens to new heights, it has to start with a statement at Arrowhead. But this is not something he can do alone. The defense must rediscover its backbone, the tackling must improve, and veterans like Derrick Henry must step up and stop the self-inflicted wounds. Right now, the Ravens look like a team searching for answers, and time is not on their side. Looking ahead to Arrowhead, the Ravens cannot afford to carry over the mistakes from Detroit. The Chiefs are not a team that waits for opponents to get comfortable. Patrick Mahomes is the kind of quarterback who will punish every hesitation, every misstep, and every poorly executed play. He sees the smallest window, and he will exploit it with surgical precision. Lamar Jackson knows that to even have a chance, he must elevate his game, push past the past disappointments, and make the Ravens' offense a weapon capable of keeping pace with Kansas City's relentless scoring machine. Jackson's challenge is as much mental as it is physical. He has the talent, the speed, and the vision to break open a game, but he also carries the weight of history. Arrowhead is a stadium that has become synonymous with frustration for Baltimore. The roar of the crowd, the noise, and the Chiefs' track record all combine to create a psychological barrier that the Ravens have never fully broken through in the Mahomes era. For Jackson, the task is to transform that barrier into fuel, to turn the anxiety into focus, and to remind himself that every game is a new opportunity, regardless of the stats, the odds, or the past defeats. Meanwhile, the defense must step up in ways it has not shown yet this season. The run defense against Detroit exposed cracks that have to be sealed immediately. Tackling, positioning, and communication must all be tightened, because if the Ravens allow a running game to dominate again, Jackson's ability to lead a comeback will be limited by time and field position. The Chiefs' offensive line is formidable, but it is not invincible. If Baltimore can get penetration, create pressure, and force Mahomes to make quick decisions, the dynamic of the game shifts. The Ravens have to find the balance between aggressive pursuit and disciplined containment, a challenge that will test their coaching, preparation, and execution. Special teams also cannot be overlooked. Arrowhead magnifies mistakes, and any lapse, whether a missed field goal, a poorly executed punt, or a return miscue, can swing momentum instantly. For the Ravens, it will be essential to minimize these errors, because in a stadium like Kansas City, small advantages quickly turn into insurmountable deficits. Every yard, every possession, and every third down stop becomes magnified, and the pressure to perform flawlessly increases exponentially. Lamar Jackson is not facing this alone. The Ravens' receiving core must step up to create separation, make contested catches, and keep drives alive under pressure. The offensive line will need to give Jackson time to make decisions, especially against a pass rush that thrives on chaos and speed. The interplay between Jackson's mobility and the line's protection will be critical in determining whether Baltimore can sustain drives, move the chains, and score consistently. Every read, every rollout, and every pass attempt will carry heightened significance because one mistake can lead to a quick Kansas City response. And then there is Derrick Henry. His role in the backfield has never been more crucial. Not only must he protect the football, but he must also impose his presence, demanding attention from the Chiefs' defense and opening opportunities for play-action passes. The pressure on Henry is immense, but the potential payoff is equally high. If he can run with power, patience, and intelligence, he will not only stabilize the ground game, but also give Jackson the confidence to push the offense forward. The Ravens cannot win at Arrowhead without balance, and Henry's ability to bounce back from his fumbles will be a defining factor in the game's outcome. The psychological aspect cannot be overstated. Arrowhead is a fortress, and history has shown that the crowd can make even the most seasoned quarterbacks hesitate, disrupt timing, and force errors. Jackson must enter with focus and composure, blocking out noise, ignoring past losses, and trusting in the preparation and execution of his team. Confidence will be as much a weapon as speed or arm strength, and maintaining it under relentless pressure will be a test of leadership unlike any other this season. Defensively, the Ravens cannot allow themselves to be dominated up the middle or forced to chase every play. Every missed assignment, every over-pursuit, and every miscommunication has to be corrected. The linebackers and secondary must read plays faster, react quicker, and communicate more effectively than they did against Detroit. Stopping the run is no longer optional. It is mandatory. The Chiefs will exploit any hesitation, and if Baltimore fails to contain them, Jackson's offensive heroics may not be enough to stay competitive. And while the Chiefs are formidable, this is also a moment for the Ravens to seize opportunity. They have the athleticism, the talent, and the coaching to disrupt the narrative. Jackson's arm, mobility, and improvisational skills give Baltimore a chance to score in bursts and shift momentum. Every explosive play, every sustained drive, and every successful third-down conversion will chip away at Arrowhead's intimidating aura. Success in these moments requires precision, timing, and a collective belief that this is the night the Ravens rewrite history. At the heart of it all, this game represents a crossroads for the Ravens season. Win, and they gain confidence, momentum, and a sense of validation that they can compete against elite teams in hostile environments. Lose, and questions about defensive lapses, turnovers, and consistency will intensify. The margin for error is razor-thin, and every player must elevate, adapt, and execute. Jackson's leadership will be tested, Henry's resilience will be measured, and the defense's cohesion will determine whether the Ravens can survive in a stadium that has humbled them repeatedly. Every player knows that the stakes are enormous. Arrowhead will not forgive mistakes, and every possession will feel magnified under the weight of history and expectation. Baltimore must combine discipline with aggression, precision with creativity, and resilience with execution. Jackson must orchestrate an offense capable of responding to Kansas City's pressure while the defense clamps down on the run and disrupts the rhythm of the game. The Ravens are facing one of their toughest challenges of the season, a game that will define not just their record but their identity, and the way they respond will set the tone for every contest that follows. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. Whispers have begun circulating around the Ravens locker room, and the latest bombshell comes straight from Derrick Henry. According to sources close to the team, the star running back has allegedly made it clear that he will no longer accept playing alongside quarterback Cooper Rush. While the organization has yet to issue an official statement, the murmurs are enough to send shockwaves through the NFL community. Henry, known for his relentless power on the field and a work ethic that borders on legendary, reportedly voiced his frustration during recent team meetings. Insiders suggest that tension has been simmering for some time, with Henry growing increasingly uncomfortable with what he perceives as inconsistent quarterback play. Rumors claim that the running back feels the offensive rhythm suffers under Rush, and he's ready to make his dissatisfaction known, even if it disrupts the status quo in Baltimore. The rumor mills are running wild with speculation. Some say Henry's comments could be a strategic move to push the Ravens toward a quarterback upgrade, while others suggest the relationship may have reached a breaking point that could affect the locker room morale. Analysts are now debating whether this is a negotiating tactic, a genuine expression of frustration, or the first signs of a potential blockbuster trade scenario. Fans have taken to social media in droves, weighing in on the alleged feud. Hashtags and memes are circulating that reference Henry's powerhouse running style contrasted against Rush's reportedly uneven performances. Meanwhile, local reporters hint that the front office is quietly weighing options, though nothing concrete has been confirmed. The buzz around this story has even attracted attention from rival teams, who might see an opportunity if Henry's patience with the current setup truly has limits. If the rumors hold any truth, the implications are massive. Derrick Henry is not just another player. He's a game-changer who can dictate the tempo of any match. Cooper Rush, meanwhile, has yet to prove himself consistently at the helm, and the pressure of this supposed ultimatum could define the trajectory of the Ravens season. Will the organization cave to keep Henry happy, or will they stand by their quarterback? For now, all we have are whispers, speculation, and the tantalizing possibility of a storyline that could redefine Baltimore's offensive identity. One thing is certain, wherever the truth lies, the NFL world is watching closely. The murmurs about Derrick Henry and Cooper Rush have only just begun, and if the chatter grows louder, we might be witnessing the start of one of the most talked-about controversies of the season. Stay tuned, because in the world of sports rumors, every whisper has the potential to become a roar. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.